Alrighty, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, YouTube preppers, prepping outside the box. I'm Josh, and we are going to go over a little bit of everyday practices. I say a little bit because it is not all of them. And if you know some that we skip in here, I highly recommend you go in the comment section and tell everybody so we can all grow as a community, right? Alright, so obviously we can live without a lot of things in life. What I'm going to go over, or things that we might see in the comment section, are things that you'll probably be happy at some point in your life that you started following these things. Might make, maybe one day it makes life easier, right? Anyways, I want to say, first of all, remember anything that you do for 30 days consecutively, you can make habit, right? You can build your own good habits, and that's what we're trying to do. All right, so I'm a little OCD, so we're gonna start off with everything has its place, right? And by everything has its place, I mean, if you make it a habit, that 30 days consistently and more, to put everything back in a certain spot, everything goes in the exact same spot when you empty your pockets, when you take off your shoes, all that stuff, everything goes back to the same exact spot and everything has its place. When you build that habit, it'll help you with memorization and things like that. So if all of a sudden the power goes out, it's nighttime, you're in stressful times, you're not fumbling and bumbling trying to find what you need, right? So everything has its place, talking about your carry, your rifle, things like self-protection, things like that. Flashlights for when the power goes out or something like that, you always know where they're at because they always go back to the same spot. Med kits, your EDC, your fire extinguishers. And this isn't just so you always know, but so your kids know, your wife, your husband, whatever knows. But if you guys get in a habit as a family of putting everything back where it's supposed to go, everything in its place, then if anything happens stressful otherwise, you will not have as much to worry about and as much to think about when you go to retrieve those items. So everything has its place. Another big one, and this is primarily for whether you're in a shelter, you're on the move. I still do it daily here because it's a habit I've built from deployments and things like that, and in field training and all that. But knock out your boots. Knock out your shoes, boots, whatever you want to call it, but knock out your footwear, right? So you're trying to make sure that no critters or live animals or whatever decided to make home for the night in your boots or whatever you're wearing. So before you put them on, get in the habit of knocking out your boots and making sure they are free of all those possibly poisonous, bitey, nasty things, right? You might not have anything for a long time, but I have knocked out my boots and had things like camel spiders come out of them. So make sure you do that. It's a good habit, especially if all of a sudden you're bugging out and you're moving around. You're gonna have to take them off every once in a while just to let your feet breathe, right? Your Cadillacs. So get in the habit of knocking those things out so you don't have any issues in the future, right? You'll be happy you did. Another one, I do this every time I'm about to get in my truck. Give it a once over, right? Walk around your truck, your car, whatever it is, your vehicle. But walk around, it's going to help you identify issues, tires and things like that, and things happen to it. But give your vehicle a once over before you go or before you jump in it and go on your little merry way. And another thing is this habit will build that during an SHTF situation, when you're in the habit of checking your vehicle before you go, now you can jump in it and see if someone's tampered with your vehicle. You might not always be in the most secure of locations, so you want to make sure that you're good to go at all times. And this habit is built for harsher times, I guess you could say, right? So it ensures there's no tampering and that you're good for your movement. A very important one, train daily. That's why I do the goats and all that other stuff, and I try to pick up various things for to spark your imagination of what you should do that day. But learn something, do something. And if all else fails at the end of your time, or you're already too tired to bug out if anything happens, at the end of the day, if all you do is gain a wealth of knowledge, you have something to pass on to the next generation. So like some of the other preppers say, right? If you're learning something, doing something, all of that kind of stuff, then make sure you're also teaching others so you're not the only one, right? We're trying to build as a community. Big one, check your carry, your concealed carry, your open carry, whatever it is. check your carry, see if it's loaded, right? Every time you put it on, make sure it is. If you're rolling around in condition 1, that it's loaded, or whatever, however you carry. But is it loaded? Did you downgrade it when you got back home last night or whatever? Always check the condition of your carry. It's important, and some people think, well, I just know how it is. I always do this. Things change, people mess with your stuff. Whatever it is, know the condition of your firearm, right? It also helps you if you're always checking it, if it needs cleaning and things like that, because sometimes you get so busy in life with everything going on that you just overlook simple things like weapons maintenance, right? So check your carry. Another one, and this is taught to kids, right? People first learning how to drive, but it's an important one. I say never let your fuel tank get below a quarter, right? So some people do the half tank, the 3/4 of a tank, which is whatever you want to do. 3/4 or a half would be better, but as long as you make sure that, sorry about that, as long as you make sure your tank doesn't get below a quarter, you're never going to worry about things like running out of fuel. You should have enough fuel to get to your location if you need to, or things like that, depending on how far away it is. Maybe you need to make sure you always have 3/4 of a tank. So keeping that fuel in there and not having to rush in there and get any at the time, or emergencies or anything like that pop up, they'll always be good, right? And every time you stop to fill up, it shouldn't take that much time. Pull out your tire gauge, check your tires, see if they need filled, and check your fluids. Doesn't take that much time. Just pop the hood, check it, close it. You can do it while it's fueling, right? I know there's times you're supposed to wait until it cools down, heats up, things like that, depending on what you're checking. And you can figure that out on the fly, depending on what you're riding in, right? But check your fluids, check your tires. Don't let that tank get below a quarter capacity, right? All right, lastly, and this is huge, and I harp on it all the time, do some physical training, at least 4 times, if not like 6 times a week. Do some sort of physical training. It'll make you feel better. It's gonna help you be better prepared, and it's not just going out and bulking up. Physical training is strength training, it's cardio, it's flexibility, it's breathing, anything that is going to affect your physical well-being, right? So do some kind of physical training at least 4 times a week. And I harp on that. I've talked about it multiple times, even back in my physical preparedness video. I talked about it multiple times. So recap real quick, right? Everything has its place. Knock out your boots. Do a once over on your vehicle before you take off. Train daily, learn something, do something, right? Check your carry. Always know the condition of your firearm. Never let your tank go below a quarter. And do something physical, right? Really simple steps. They're just everyday practices that if you get in the habit, well, you're not filling up every day, but you get the idea. It's everyday practices you need to make habit, make your life easier down the road if something bad happens, or just in general, right? Again, if you have another one, add it in the comments section. If you don't mind, like, share, whatever to the video, subscribe if you want to hear more. Not all the videos are like this. I like to touch on a variety of things in the preparedness field. So, until tomorrow, it's Prepping Outside the Box. I'm Josh. I'll see you then.